Hey there. So this video is going to be a bit different from my usual videos. Right now, I've got a very special guest with us. I've got Andrei Poliakov, who's the CEO of Coinberry. So in today's talk, we'll be going over a few questions about Andrei himself and some other questions about Coinberry and also the future of crypto regulation in Canada. So first off, thanks, Andrei, for being here today. It's great to be able to chat with you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just go straight into it. I guess the first question is, what's your story with how you got into crypto and ultimately becoming the CEO of Coinberry?
Yeah, so this is it's a funny story. This was back in early 2017. I was introduced sort of to Bitcoin a couple of years prior, but it was more or less like in passing. And then in early 2017, I was down in Florida with a group of individuals, and we had to settle sort of internal debts to each other. And we had people from the US and people from Canada, and there was no easy way to really settle our debts other than through cash. Nobody had cash, and so my business partner, my business partner. Evan Kuhn, he was part of that group, and he suggested that we settled our internal debts through Bitcoin. And so we, as a group, we had all, we signed up to, I think it was Coinbase. Ultimately, ended up settling our debts to each other through Bitcoin. And I really had a, this aha moment where I realized that, we're just a group of, very regular individuals who have found this use case for this new technology, really. And I realized that there was something to it because cross-border sort of remittance is a very big and cumbersome sort of procedure and endeavor right now. If you try to send a wire overseas, it takes time, it takes days. And I thought back then, that's, there's something here. There's something very interesting about, how we were able to apply and use this technology to solve a very basic problem, right? And so I went back and we came back to Canada, and I was sitting on this sort of thought for a couple of months until my business partner reached out to me again and said, hey, look, there's a lot of activity. There's a lot of Toronto at the time was sort of like, there's a lot of energy and a lot of different groups of people that were meeting and discussing different blockchain projects, and the ICO craze was happening. And so he said, hey, we're looking to start and to launch a crypto trading platform. Do you want to join us? And I have an engineering degree. I had an MBA. So I said, sure. And so I quit my very comfortable corporate job and launched the startup and never looked back at this point in time, 4.5 years later.
Wow, that's it must have been quite a journey.
It certainly was. It wasn't always easy. It certainly wasn't always a walk in the park. But we had a vision. We had a vision to create a platform which was easy to use, something even our grandparents could use, that was safe, secure, that was convenient, and that really gave access to the mass and regular Canadians, gave them secure and easy access and quick access to some of the main cryptocurrencies available in the market. And we started off with Bitcoin, Ethereum. Obviously now we have about 18 cryptos that we offer, but that's sort of the value that we bring to our investors, is that sort of ease of use in a safe, secure, and convenient platform.
Mm-hmm. I love it. So congrats on your recent approval from the OSC, or with the OSC. That must have been quite a stepping stone for you guys at Coinberry. How much preparation was involved with this move?
Yeah, so being registered with the OSC was a very long and onerous journey. So you have to go back to sort of when we first started Coinberry. We were one of the first platforms to actually register with FinTrack back before it was even long before it was required to do so. And then shortly thereafter, we had approached the Launchpad at the OSC as an innovative business and started discussion. So we've been at this for about 3 years now, and it's been a very long journey. Like, we've had the OSC visit our offices a number of times throughout the years, complete their due diligence and get comfortable with the team, get comfortable with our policies, our procedures, our safety measures, our insurances that we have in place, and really get comfortable to really, ultimately register us. I'm very happy to say that we are the first sort of pure play crypto platform to actually gain registration in Canada, born out of the industry, and the first and only one to actually allow our users and our investors to not only buy and sell crypto on our platform, but also fund with crypto as well as Canadian dollars, but also withdraw crypto and withdraw Canadian dollars as well. So we offer the full gamut of services, and I'm very happy to say that it's been a very long and complex journey at times, but it was well worth it, and keeping with our sort of mission statement to provide safety, security, and convenience to our users.
I love it. That must have been quite a battle to kind of tackle on.
Let's just say when I got the call, I had a well-deserved glass of wine.
Yeah, I'm sure that was well deserved. So now that you guys are approved by the OSC, any noticeable differences between before and now in terms of operations?
Yeah, so you have to be careful. So we are registered with the OSC, right? So that's the term. There are certain changes that we had to implement, and certain other changes we will be rolling out as well. There is a suitability criteria that we ask our investors to fill out that will allow us to then basically make sure that we are in line with our registered requirements or registration requirements. There are certain limits that are being introduced, limits over a 12-month period of time that individuals may basically be exposed to certain crypto assets. So I'll give you some more detail. For example, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash, there are no limits. All of our users, well, I shouldn't say all, the majority of our users will be able to buy and sell as many of those four as I mentioned. The other cryptos that we offer on the platform, there will be different limits that will apply depending on each individual's sort of particularities. So accredited crypto investors will be able to buy an unlimited amount. Again, I am generalizing, there are always exceptions, but generally speaking, will not have any limits in terms of how much they're able to buy. Eligible investors, those individuals that are fit the criteria of eligible investor, will be able to buy up to $100,000 in, it's actually not just buy, it's net buy. So if somebody were to buy and then sell, they could buy again and they could sell again. So it's not just a total amount that they can buy, but the total exposure that they're able to have will be limited to $100,000 for the other cryptos that we offer other than Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. And then investors that are neither accredited nor eligible will be limited to $30,000 a year in exposure to those other cryptos that we offer. Again, not Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. Those four, everybody will be able to buy as much as they would like to. Again, there's always exceptions, so I want to make sure that's very clear.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was actually a question that I had written down, because I did read a article about that, and I did kind of talk about that in one of my previous videos, and a lot of questions came out from that. So someone was asking, this, let's just say the $30,000 limit. People weren't clear if, let's just say you buy some crypto for $30,000, you meet that limit, and then it goes to $50,000. Does that mean you can't sell any of it because you've hit that limit of the buy?
No. You can sell all of it. You can actually sell as much as you want. You can bring as much crypto as you want on the platform and sell as much of it. There's no limit.
Oh, okay.
The limit is how much in terms of Canadian dollars are you able to put into crypto? Let's just put it that way. So if you bring, let's say you bring $30,000 onto the platform and you buy Bitcoin for $30,000 and then it goes up, and you sell it for 50, good for you. You can withdraw that $50,000 the next day. And then the day after you can bring on another $30,000. As long as your overall exposure in terms of, how much did you bring on the platform in Canadian dollars, as long as that doesn't go over $30,000 or $100,000, depending on where you land. I read some of the comments being made as well. It's a lot more flexible, I would say, than I think people had imagined or had interpreted it to be.
Yeah, I think everyone was thinking more so worst case scenario. The regulators are cracking down. And
look, at the end of the day, it's all, everything's put in place. Everything that we're doing is put in place for investor protection purposes, right? So, and people can take different positions in terms of, is regulatory oversight good? Is it bad? And, is it required? Is it necessary? We obviously have the position that it is to the benefit of the investor, and everything that we're doing in the platform is to provide safety and security and convenience, right? But you can't just provide safety and security without providing individuals with certain information that they need in order to make their, investment decisions, right? So if an individual is coming on the platform, and one of the questions we ask them is, do you intend to invest over 10% of your net liquid assets that you have available? And if this is an individual that's about to put everything that they own, and like their entire pension, savings into an altcoin, which is very volatile, and then that altcoin may go up, it'll be great, but what if it goes down, right? And so we need to be able to give information to our users such that they're able to take the right decisions, informative decisions about what they're about, about the investments they're about to make. And ultimately, the crypto space is phenomenal, and it opens so many opportunities for innovation and really changing the way society interacts financially, globally. But there are risks involved as well. And I think it would be irresponsible for us not to address those risks and not to make sure that our investors and our users are aware of those risks. And I think that's the position that, the regulators are coming from. And that's why, some of those limits were mandated. Again, nobody's trying to prevent individuals from creating wealth. It's the opposite. We're trying to create a safe platform for Canadians to create wealth through alternate asset classes such as crypto.
But I guess just more in a safe way.
Exactly. It has to be responsibly and done responsibly and safely. And we had many discussions with the regulators about the limits, and we're quite happy with the final result. We think it gives people a lot of the bulk of the users in our platform will have, I would say, probably most of the users in our platform will not actually feel any difference, in terms of the limits that we've implemented, because for the most part, individuals that are, that, for example, are eligible or accredited investors, they trade within those bands anyway. And individuals that are not, they trade within other bands. So I don't think anybody's actually going to end up feeling any of this. But I do appreciate the fact that when people read this, they, as you said, they always, they tend to the worst case scenario. No, there's a lot of opportunity to do a lot on the platform still. And again, ultimately, the end goal is always, from where we stand, is always investor protection, the safety and security.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. I guess through your answer, you kind of already answered this, but the question that I wanted to ask you was, what are your personal thoughts on regulation of crypto in Canada? I mean, just because you have to register with the OSC doesn't mean you have to like it, right? But I guess through your response, you seem like, okay, you're all for regulation in crypto. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I'll explain a bit, why I take that position, because ultimately I believe in the long-term success of our industry. And in order, and as we see, retail investors get more into the space, a lot of the price appreciation we saw this year was driven by institutional investors. Well, institutional investors are mandated to trade on platforms that are regulated, right? That's most of their mandates require them to do that. So if we as an industry want to continue to grow and mature, ultimately regulation to me is one of those sort of pillars that allows our industry to grow and mature and get more interest and get institutions involved more, which will ultimately end up driving the price of Bitcoin and other crypto currencies upwards, which is for the benefit of everybody involved. So I see this as a necessity. I see regulatory involvement or oversight as a necessity for the industry to grow and to mature. And so that's why I welcome it. And to be completely honest with you, we've had great discussions with the regulators, and I did not feel that they were coming from a position of any other than really trying to balance innovation and making sure they don't stifle innovative growth in Canada with investor protection. And I think, look, at the end of the day, nobody wants another Quadriga, right? Nobody wants that. So
I was just about to ask you about that, but
right,
yeah,
so,
continue.
So, nobody wants another Einstein exchange either, right? So, you ask those people that lost their money on those, on those platforms, what they think about regulatory oversight, right? I'm sure they'll give you a much more emphatic response than I did. But again, it's all about investor protection.
Yeah, no, for sure. Do you feel like the fall of Quadriga or Einstein helped perpetuate this situation with the OSC coming in to introduce regulation?
Well, I think what happened with Quadriga was, everybody was kind of, the writing was on the wall back then, but still, when it was happening. But I think from the perspective of the industry as a whole and from the regulators, nobody really was expecting that. And so I'm fairly certain that there was a lot of discussions on their end that, led to certain actions being taken and statements being made and ultimately leading to a regulation of platforms such as Coinberry. But look, was it a good thing that happened? No, I'm sure a lot of people were, got a nasty surprise when they woke up one day.
Actually saw the web. I actually saw that notice on back in January 2019. Even before then, I was on Reddit. I remember reading some post about how some person was saying, okay, it's going to happen. I'm pretty sure, just let it happen already, and I'm hoping to get my money, but please put out that 404 statement that you've gone down so that you just kind of crushed my hopes and I stopped thinking about this. Yeah, no, I do recall seeing that the day that notice was was put out. But hey, it's kind of sad. But
it is. And, I mean, like, we laugh about it, but, people lost a lot of money, and that's not good for anybody. That's not good for the industry. That's not good for investor, confidence. That's not good for, like, literally, that there's no benefit to any of that. And
I
so
agree.
I think at a certain point in time, we just have to be adults about things and say, hey, look, there is a mechanism that's been proven to work, which involves the regulators, having some oversight. As long as it's not to the point of stifling innovation, I want to be very careful, and very adamant with that, because the last thing we want is to stifle innovation in Canada. But, as long as it's done in proportional measures, and again, with the best interest of Canadians at heart, I don't really see it as clamping down at all.
Okay, fair enough. No, that's good to get your perspective on this, because from one of my previous videos that I had talked about this, people seem to have thought, it's communist Ontario that's coming down and clamping down on people, and I guess putting that glass ceiling on people on investing in crypto. But from what it sounds like, it doesn't seem like that is what's happening. So I'm glad that you're able to show us the other side of the exactly.
And you also have to keep in mind, I mean, the limits, that's one small part of the whole registration. A lot of the work that we did with the Ontario Securities Commission and with the CSA involved very rigorous review and understanding of all the safety measures and procedures that we have in place. Again, all in the interest of making sure that, another Kojuga doesn't happen. So that if I personally go away traveling and I disappear because I had a heart attack, nothing changes. Everybody's crypto is safe. Everybody's crypto is accessible. Everybody's crypto is insured. And to the point, we do custody over 80% of our crypto with Gemini, and they offer over $200 million of insurance. We have a financial institution bond in place to, to ensure our cold storage against, that we don't have with Gemini, to ensure that against loss or any fraudulent acts. So, all those requirements that we put in place as part of the discussions with the OSC, like, those are all for the benefit of our users, right? So I really have a hard time saying that it's just the limits. There's a lot more that went to make sure that our platform was at a point that regulators across all the provinces and territories in Canada, signed off on that registration, right?
I didn't know that. Obviously, because I'm not behind the scenes, I don't get to see the stuff. But, just talking with you, I can now get a clear picture of just how much other things are involved that we don't really see. I mean, like, all we see is like the face value stuff that we can read. But yeah, having this conversation with you, it definitely enlightens us as to the broader picture of why regulation is needed in Canada with the crypto space.
Yeah, I'm happy to have an opportunity to share sort of the other side of the coin, I guess.
Yeah, so now that you're registered with the OSC, how do you see this playing out with other provinces' securities commissions? Do you have to register with them as well, or have you been contacted by any of the other security commissions?
Yeah, so the way it works in Canada is the OSC is our home, sort of our primary regulator. So they take our registration to the CSA, the Canadian Securities Administrators, which is a group that encompasses all the commissions across all the provinces and territories. And so it's important to note that the registration we received was signed off by all of the CSA members. So even though it was like our home regulator is the OSC, but we are, the registration we received allows us to offer our services in all the provinces and all the territories. So it's national.
Oh, okay. So the OSC is more of the governing body for the whole country.
No, I wouldn't say it's a governing body. It just happens to be that they're our home commission because we are based in Toronto, in Ontario. If somebody were to apply, like a company based in Alberta would have to apply through the Alberta.
Okay. I gotcha. So there is still more so provincial jurisdiction kind of thing.
Yeah. It's just a matter of who brings you to the group. So who brings you to the table to discuss. And we had a lot of discussions with the commissions, like across the country. Like we had a lot of calls and back and forth, making sure that every single commission was comfortable with the platform we're offering, to make sure that they were comfortable with us offering our services to their residents, right? Because obviously, Ontario looks after Ontario residents, Alberta looks after Alberta residents, right? So that's important to know. Yeah. So we've had a lot of back and forth with all the CSA members and addressing all of their questions and concerns and making sure that they're comfortable to sign off on the Ontario Securities Commission's decision.
Okay, great. No, that's good. That's great to know. Just because I think we were I was kind of confused as to why. I can't remember exactly how it came about, but I was wondering why Ontario was able to say you got the okay in this province and some other provinces.
Yeah. No, that's not how it works. Like every province had to like opt in, so to speak.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, they didn't have to, actually. That's the whole point. They didn't have to opt in. They chose to opt in.
Yeah, of course. And what are your thoughts on the future of regulation of crypto in Canada?
What are my thoughts on the regulation of crypto in Canada?
Yeah, what will happen? What do you see happening? Is there any like major difference that you think that's going to happen with regulations? Example, do you think that all the other platforms, let's just say that they're based in BC or Alberta, do you think they're going to have to get registered as well? I mean, you're obviously based in Ontario, so you might not be able to speak on the behalf of these other platforms that are in other provinces, but I guess the future of other platforms across the country.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there was a memo that the CSA put out about a year and a half ago at this point in time, basically saying that all platforms across the country that are in the business that we are in, offering crypto in the way that we are, will have to register or should consider registering. Look, I can't speak to all of our competitors out there, but I think we're going to see, it was a very long and ultimately expensive process to go through, 3 years, So it's not something that is easy to sort of to complete. So I do see ultimately, consolidation in the industry, because some of the small players are just not going to be able to go through this. It's just onerous and expensive. But ultimately, I mean, look, we already saw BINANCE had to exit the Ontario market. We saw, I forget that one, PAYTRIE, I think was, the OSC started, actually, there was an enforcement ruling against PAYTRIE. So it's, I think we're going to start seeing enforcement of non-compliant platforms begin soon. And ultimately, that's going to lead to further maturing of the platforms that do decide to register and do decide to go through the onerous process of implementing the proper policies and procedures and safeguards and all that, again, to the benefit of Canadians, really. So I see that being a reality in the near future, and I think some of the more serious platforms in Canada are already taking steps to register with their home commissions.
Great. And I guess kind of last question, what does the future of Coinberry look like to you?
Oh, well, we have a really exciting sort of roadmap ahead of us that I'm happy to share. Like, there's a number of really innovative products and services that we'll be putting out very soon. We hope to continue working closely with regulators to ensure that Canadians, investors have a safe and secure and convenient trading platforms to work with. And ultimately, we have a bright future ahead of us as well. We're going to be going public later this year.
Oh, wow.
And and I feel like we're really, poised for success. And there's indeed a very bright and prosperous future for the industry and for Coinberry in particular.
That's going to be amazing. If you guys do an IPO or if you do go public, it's going to be huge, I think. First, I guess, sort of Canadian crypto platform in Canada that goes public. In America, they already have Coinbase, but in Canada, we don't have anything. So I wish you guys the best of luck on going public.
Thanks so much.
So just before, I guess, we finish, if people wanted to reach out to you or contact you, how can they do so?
So on Coinberry.com, there is a way to contact the company. We are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we're on all the social media platforms. So there's really a lot of different ways. If they want to contact me in particular, they can always reach out to me through LinkedIn. I try to respond as much as I can, but a lot of messages sometimes coming through. So yes, I do my best.
Okay, great. All right. So thanks for coming on to chat. And I'm sure that the audience appreciates the time that you've taken out of your busy schedule to chat.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time. I really enjoyed this talk, and it was the first time I got a chance to really talk about what went on through the regulation. So thanks so much for taking the time.